Chapter 1: The Sovereign Void of Lagrange Points. Modern geopolitics operates on a critical, unrecognized territorial constraint. We call it the gravity-bound surface of Earth, a transparent and volatile regulatory trap. Every public nation, state, and tax registry is trapped within these planetary limits. Every multi-billion-dollar corporation remains permanently mapped under global radar grids. Every physical asset anchored to the soil is vulnerable to social revolutions and inflation. We assumed this planet-bound existence was the permanent framework of wealth, guaranteed indefinitely by state treaties and national defense, umbrellas on the ground. But behind closed aerospace facilities, the 0.1% see structural collapse. They see a terrestrial world rapidly descending into tax crackdowns and resource rationing. They realize that keeping fortunes on the surface means sharing the demise of a dying planet. The hyper-elite refuse to allow their multi-generational capital to be consumed by Earth crises. They are actively preparing for their complete, irreversible exit from the planetary domain by establishing private, fully autonomous orbital sanctuaries parked at stable Lagrange points. These cosmic coordinates offer ultimate gravitational equilibrium, where Earth and Sun balance out, creating a permanent anchorage that requires almost zero propulsion fuel to maintain position. This is the rise of the Lagrangian Secession, the absolute isolation of sovereign capital, where orbital space is no longer a scientific frontier, but a private militarized fiefdom. Those who control these deep space pockets will dictate the terms of ultimate survival. The horizontal boundaries of earthly states are being rendered completely obsolete, replaced by an unyielding vertical matrix of private habitats, operating outside international law. The escape of absolute wealth is silent, upward, and permanently anchored in the void. Chapter 2: The Thermodynamics of Closed-Loop Habitats. To sustain a functional sovereign civilization in vacuum, the sanctuary requires physical perfection, the ultimate thermodynamic loop capable of running high-density infrastructure across multiple generations. Traditional planetary energy sources and solar grids are dismissed as fragile toys. They are highly vulnerable to atmospheric changes, sabotage, and national supply chain cuts. To eliminate this risk, the Lagrangian elite utilize massive, private solar collector arrays. These gargantuan photovoltaic membranes are constructed of ultra-thin, graphene-backed silicon crystals, spanning several kilometers across the silent void to capture unfiltered, persistent solar radiation, generating hundreds of continuous megawatts of electricity. To run subatomic life support systems, specialized nuclear fusion auxiliary cores provide backup power during sudden solar flare disruptions, ensuring that the internal thermodynamic balance of the habitat remains perfectly uninterrupted. Giant, rotating cylindrical hulls utilize centrifugal force to simulate a continuous force of gravity, preventing the cellular degradation and bone loss associated with zero-gravity exposure. The atmosphere inside these biophilic domes is continuously scrubbed through molecular sieves. Every cubic meter of oxygen and nitrogen is managed by quantum algorithms. When surface cities suffer under environmental degradation, energy rationing, and nuclear winter, these private Lagrangian sanctuaries remain perfectly powered by the thermodynamics of the sun. By establishing absolute control over their biosphere, the elite conquer planetary limits. The private space habitat becomes the ultimate, self-sustaining vessel of dynastic longevity, sustaining human biology and ledger databases through centuries of planetary dark ages. Chapter 3: Sovereign Cryptography and Autonomous Security. Physical sovereignty in the orbital void is incomplete without absolute cryptographic autonomy, a trustless digital coordination system programmed to protect the empire without relying on human courts. Traditional banks, land registries, and state-backed contracts are highly vulnerable to confiscation. They cannot be trusted to protect a sovereign dynasty's wealth across a single planetary war. To eliminate this risk, the Lagrangian Secession utilizes autonomous cryptographic networks Decentralized quantum computer nodes run continuous, immutable smart contracts deep inside the core. These algorithms are permanently hard-coded with protocols to manage global assets, automatically routing investments, executing trades, and acquiring critical minerals. On Earth below, the private digital wealth of the elite is shielded behind unbreakable quantum-resistant encryption. No terrestrial government or tax agency can ever seize these deep space private keys. The orbital platform autonomously coordinates private security drones and kinetic defense satellites, deploying automated interceptor units to neutralize any unauthorized spacecraft attempting to breach boundaries. Every operational cost, hardware, maintenance, and repair is paid through autonomous digital wallets, operating entirely outside the jurisdiction of earthly central banks and monetary systems. The entire technological infrastructure of the enclave becomes an immortal, self-defending fortress, an artificial intelligence matrix whose sole purpose is to maintain the purity of the masters, securing the legacy of the elite against the constant entropy of the surface-bound population. Chapter 4: The Closed-Loop Biosphere and Hydrological Autonomy. To maintain absolute isolation, the orbital enclave requires total biological self-sufficiency. The automated production of high-density nutrients, organic food, and pristine water within the hull. Yet agricultural supply chains on Earth are deeply dependent on vulnerable topsoil. They are highly susceptible to regional droughts, pollution, and state-controlled distribution rationing. To eliminate this biological vulnerability, the elite build automated vertical agricultural rings. These rotating chambers utilize high-efficiency LED arrays calibrated to accelerate photosynthesis, delivering optimal nutrient solutions directly to roots through closed-loop aeroponics, powered continuously by the habitat's central solar collectors and nuclear fusion batteries. Autonomous robotic arms and botanical sensors manage the entire agricultural cycle without labor, harvesting organic crops and cellular proteins under sterile, laboratory conditions. Water is harvested directly from captured near-Earth asteroids rich in pristine ice. This cosmic water is melted, filtered through advanced nanotech membranes, and stored in titanium tanks, ensuring that the private sanctuary remains independent of Earth's depleted aquifers. No biological pandemics, airborne pathogens, or nuclear fallout can touch this food supply. This is not a commercial space station designed for trade or scientific exploration. It is a highly calculated monopoly on automated, sovereign biological self-preservation. By decoupling entirely from the terrestrial biosphere, absolute capital achieves genetic safety, protecting the genetic lineage of the 0.1% from the decay of the planet. Chapter 5: The Lagrangian Neo-Feudal Era. The establishment of the private Lagrangian sanctuary creates the permanent division of civilization, a barrier built not just on legal status, but on gravitational altitude. The general public is condemned to remain on the increasingly toxic, hyper-taxed surface, trapped within an energy-starved world, monitored by aggressive state surveillance systems, while the 0.1% secure their bloodlines high above the clouds. Completely immune to the chaos of planetary conflicts, economic collapses, and disasters, they have successfully decoupled from the shared biological destiny of the human species. The political and philosophical implications of this orbital divide are profoundly clear. When absolute wealth owns its gravity, atmosphere, and autonomous military defense, power is no longer temporary, and capital is no longer subject to the redistribution of death. The elite no longer require a cooperative public society to generate or protect their legacy. The exit portals of these orbital fortresses are already constructed and silently humming. Their coordinates are highly classified and defended by unbribable, automated laser networks. The age of the modern, surface-bound nation-state is drawing to its final, quiet close, replaced by an unyielding, cosmic matrix of private, sovereign, orbital space empires. Subscribe to future Prism Lab for the hidden thermodynamic mechanics of wealth.